Hello everyone, this is Adel Marzuki doing a Teach 1 assignment for Stratified Covariate Balancing for HAP 823, spring in 2019, taught by Professor Farouk Kalemi. So we will be doing question number 5, which gives us the problem, which is in a nursing home, data were collected on residents' survival and disabilities. The data are listed in the following order: ID, age, gender, M for male, F for female. Number of assessments completed on the person, number of days followed, days since first assessment, days to last assessment, unable to eat, unable to transfer, unable to groom, unable to toilet, unable to bathe, unable to walk, unable to dress, unable to bow, unable to urine. Dead 1 or alive 0. And assessment number. Does inability to eat increase probability of mortality in 6 months? We have to use SQL and stratified covariate balancing to determine if inability to eat contributes to mortality after controlling for other disabilities of the patient. So the data called assessments, and first we have to download it and import it into SQL using the import file, and this is how the data looks. So first we need to organize the data. The data assessments doesn't have proper column names. Columns are indicated as column 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. So the first thing that we are going to do is to change the names. We indicate column 1 as ID, which is the ID of the residents. Column 2 indicated as a float, and it will be added to column number 6 and divided by 365 days to indicate the age. Column 3 is the gender. We label it as M, indicating male. If the resident is a male, we give it the value 1, if not 0. Column 4 is the number of assessments completed. Column 5 is the days followed that assessment. Column 6 is the days since first assessment. Column 7 is the days to last assessment. Column 8 is the unable to eat disability. Column 9 is the unable to transfer. Column 10, unable to groom. Column 11, unable to toilet. Column 12, unable to bathe. Column 13, unable to walk. Column 14, unable to dress. Column 15, unable to bowel. Column 16, unable to urine. And column 17 is if the patient is dead or not. Column 18 is the assessment number. We add all that into a new table, a temp file called data. After organizing the data, we need to calculate the number of residents who died after 6 months. We do that by the following code. First, we need to select the ID and label it as the ID or dead, indicating the resident who died. Then we need to find the days since the first assessment, and we label it as dead on day. We need to put that into a temp file called dead. We take it from the data that we have. And the most important part is the where command, where dead equals to 1. By doing that, we are moving all the residents who died into a temp table. After that, we need to find specifically the patients who died after 6 months. We do that by the following command: IIF from the dead temp table, from the column dead on day, and from the temp table data, from the column days since the first assessment. Between 0 and 83 and 183 days. If we find that resident, we label it as 1. If not, it's 0 as dead after 6 months. We put all that into a temp table called data number 2, and we left join it to the temp table dead on ID equals ID dead. Then we need to group all the residents who are unable to eat on one temp table. We do that by the following command. We select ID as ID for the residents who are unable to eat, and we find the minimum days since the first assessment, and we label it as unable to eat on day. into temp table called unable to eat, and where the unable to eat value is equal to 1, and we group them by the ID. Then we need to stratify the data. That just means that we need to find the resident that share the same disability and the same attributes and match them with each other. We do that first by selecting the minimum age into a new temp table called minimum age, and we group them by ID. Then we need to select the ID and the average age and the assessment number and dead after 6 months and unable to eat values, and we need to concact all the other disabilities into one temp table called data number 3. Then we need to join the ID and the unable to eat from the unable to eat temp table and the data number 2 temp table, where the days since first assessment less than or equal the unable to eat on that day, or unable to eat is null. After that, we need to find the cases, which are the residents who are unable to eat and either dead or alive after 6 months. We do that by the following command, which is the sum command, and if the resident are dead after 6 months and the value is 1, we give them the value 1 or else 0 as dead cases. If not, the dead after 6 months value is 0, we give them the value 1 or else is 0 if they are alive cases. We add that into a new temp table called cases, and we group them by the strata, where the unable to eat value equals to 1. Then we need to find the controls. For this, we use the same command as the previous slide, the sum command, but we change it from cases to controls. And the controls are the residents who are able to eat after 6 months, whether they are alive or dead. Then we need to match the cases with the controls. We do that by the join command as follows. We select the number of controls, the number of dead controls, the number of alive controls, and the number of cases into a new temp table called match from the table cases after we interjoin it with the table controls on cases strata and control strata. And by doing that, we find the matching cases. Finally, we need to find the ratio for the patients who are unable to eat and affecting the livelihood after 6 months. We do that by doing a simple math calculation using SQL, and we can see that patients who are unable to eat are 3.4 more likely to be dead after 6 months. Thank you guys for listening to this presentation. I hope it was helpful, and if you have any other question, please don't hesitate to contact me.